Hey everybody, Doc here. Let's do another episode of Tips and Tricks. And today I want to talk about building the 1993 or 1994 Chevrolet Lumina. So Chevy introduced their 1990 Lumina in 1989, and it was actually a mid-year introduction. It was pretty controversial at the time, but nevertheless they debuted it in race number 9 of the season at Talladega. It didn't hurt the teams too badly because Darrell Waltrip won the very next week at Charlotte. So the teams were off and running, and accordingly, Monogram and AMT built at least a dozen models that I can think of to replicate that Lumina that ran between 1989 and 1992. The car is pretty distinct if you have one of these kits. There's a groove running through the nose. They called it the divot. Um, that was something that the teams could play with for a while in terms of balance and aero. Additionally, the sides were somewhat rounded, and the kit replicate that really well. It's a nice kit. And the rear bumper cover had sort of a built-in factory space for what would be license plates. So those features are readily identifiable if you see a photo. That will clue you in that you're looking at something between 1989 and 1992. The teams figured it out real quick that they could play with that groove in the front nose by filling it in and changing the aerodynamic properties, balance of the car. And so credit to, I know Darrell Waltrip's team, they were playing with that early on if you look at photos. And in fact, the 1991 opener at Daytona for the 500, Ernie Irvan's team, Kodak team, won. And you'll see that they have a pretty substantial filler piece in their nose divot. It became pretty commonplace. You'll notice that in many of the photos. And by 1992, you can see it on any photo of the Goodwrench team and when they were testing at the Brickyard. There's some really nice aftermarket 3D printed products that you can use to fill that in if you're building cars of that era, and that would make the nose correct. But today, I want to sort of point out to you that if you're building a 1993 or 94 Lumina, there's actually a kit available, or I should say kits available to do that. There's three distinct differences on the real cars, and one was the nose. It became flattened out for the more aerodynamic properties. The real cars had a little straighter slab side than what the kit offers, and then also the rear bumper became a little bit more slanted, kicked out, and you can see the license plate feature is gone in the rear bumper cover, and made the back end as aerodynamic as they could. So if you're looking to build a kit from that era, the two kits that I could think of would be either the Terry Labonte Kellogg's kit or the Dale Earnhardt Championship kit. And in those, you will get correct nose and rear bumper covers for what was happening. But if you don't have those kits, you could also buy aftermarket nose and rear bumper resin conversions. Those are great. They look exactly like what's in the kit. And indeed, Monogram actually never changed the body anyway to have the more slab sides. So these will convert an older kit into the 93, 94 just as well as if you bought a kit. So when you put those on or you open a kit, one thing you'll notice, at least one thing I noticed, is that the front nose had sort of a attitude that I thought was kicked out a bit too far. And so I actually choose to bevel a bit of an angle on the sides of that nose so that when it mates up with the body, the front attitude is a little bit more vertically upright. It looks more appropriate to me. It makes the valance a little bit more horizontal with the ground. So you might want to consider that. And then additionally, the nose looks a little heavy to me for most track situations. Um, and so you might ultimately want to trim that valance to your preference, depending on the car you're building or the look you're looking for. So it's a nice nose piece, but just maybe a couple tips make it look a little better. For me personally, I like to putty in the transition from the nose to the body. I like to putty in the molded in emboss for the Lumina name and the air inlet, because decals for these kits are so good that if you fill those in, you can kind of just let the decals do the work for you. And in fact, that's what I did. I just finished the 1994 Daytona winner from Sterling Marlin, and you can see here where the Lumina decal is. Um, there's a air inlet decal, and I filled the nose in smooth and let the decals do the work. You can see here I trimmed the valance, and maybe could have left it a little bit longer, but you get the idea. And these are changes you might want to consider making to build your build. But you also have to pay attention to the backside. So if you're building a 93 or 94 Lumina, you might want to consider altering the TV panel. I added some styrene strip to the bottom of that panel, and then I used an 020 styrene sheet to reskin the panel so that it had that slant to it. And then you can just use some putty on the sides and smooth it in. Again, it's not quite as slab-sided as the real cars, but it works with the body of the kit that's available to you. And then when you put the bumper cover on, one thing I noticed, if you can see this cursor here, is that it created a bit of a indent from the rear quarter panel. So I actually dremeled off some of the bottom of that rear bumper cover so that in the final state it had a little bit more of a straight line flow to it. So just something to sort of pay attention to. Again, it looked a little bit heavy to me, looked like the line was not appropriate. So here's the final product for me, and you can just see I didn't take off much, just enough to kind of create a bit of a flow. And here you can see a little bit of a slant to the rear TV panel. So if you're making these modifications, you might want to consider adding a driver's side skirt by the 93, 94. Most teams had those. The kit body doesn't come with that. If you're into this Kodak 1994 car, I will tell you that there's a set of decals from Powerslide out there that are awesome. Highly recommend it because you can actually build multiple kits from it. And one thing I noticed is that if you're building the 500 winner, the contingencies are spot on for driver's side based on what was race day. But for whatever reason, the Kodak team did not have the same layout on the right side of the car. And so you can just cut those decals and sort of rearrange them if you want sort of the accuracy of building the Daytona 500 car. And if I hope this was valuable to you, I hope you guys have an opportunity to build one of these era cars. And whatever you do, have fun. And I'll talk to you next time.